Good evening, YouTube. This is the Atheist Chef. Now, G-Man has just released another video talking about his answered prayer argument, and it's been sort of updated recently, but, anyways. So I'm going to talk about this just a little bit, because God knows we have been just trying so hard to point out the obvious flaws. But there is one thing that I don't see that we seem to be focusing on a lot, and it's the part that G-Man is really clinging on to. So I am going to take a stab at it, trying to approach this from just a different angle, and let's just see how it works. G-Man, according to his videos, defines empirical evidence is a source of knowledge acquired through the means of observation or experimentation. Now, for that little bit, I agree with. That is the better definition. Well, about half of it. And if he were to stop at that sentence, he's fine. He's met that little bit. However, scientists don't generally just go by that, because if that's the case, any time somebody said, I believe I saw aliens, that would be empirical evidence. I saw such and such God, that would be empirical evidence. So science tries to make you go just a little bit further, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. I'm going to explain a few of those little details that G-Man is ignoring. To start off, you have to have a few certain ththings for empirical evidence to really even get off the ground. First, you need to make a hypothesis, a commitment. You have to basically say, all right, this is my hypothesis. This is, if I were to, I'm predicting if this is if X, then blank is going to happen. If Y is going to happen. Then you have to design the experiment. You have to explain in detail, how the experiment works, what actually is taking place, what are you expecting to happen, and so forth. Then it has to be also considered for peer review. People basically in a scientific community, when they make a claim or make a paper, gets peer reviewed. Then there's also adversarial review, basically where people that are trying to shut it down and tell you that you're wrong, they get their crack at it as well. And then it has to be able to, the results need to be reproducible. So if you say X is going to, if I do X, Y is going to happen. Each time you do X, Y should happen. There should be constraints and controls to the experiment, and then basically, have a common understanding of the measurement. Those are things that we do, and I say we, I mean scientists, because I'm not a scientist. That is how the scientific method works for trying to improve empirical data. And this is not what G-Man is doing. G-Man, you are simply taking the first sentence and taking an observation and claiming it as empirical data. That is incorrect. The first problem G-Man has is the design of the experiment. He says, if I pray, God's going to answer my prayer. So if I do X, then I'm going to get A. If that were just all it was, that would be quite simple. All you'd have to do is just pray for something to happen, and then it would happen because he was praying for it, because of all the scriptures in the Bible that say it's going to happen. However, the way that he has it, his three expectations are that it's going to be yes, no, or wait. Or maybe, whatever. Or probably wait. So in a sense, it's if I do X, then I'm going to get A, B, and C. Now, we have a huge problem there, because there is no accounting for a D. Basically, because he said God is answer going to yes, no, or wait. That is all of the possibilities. Being that those are all the possibilities, there's no way that this argument can fail. It's always going to be a win. So it is unfalsifiable. It's always going to be A, B, or C. Without a D or a E or something else, some way to prove the experiment to go wrong, then it's just straight up unfalsifiable, unfalsifiable. And therefore, it cannot be used as empirical data. Period. The other problem with G-Man's design of the experiment is that the conclusions are not mutually exclusive. For example, how can anybody tell the difference between know and wait? I mean, if a person asks for curing from cancer, well, it could be either no, God's not going to heal them from cancer, or wait. We would never know until, well, either the person died or got over it. So in that meantime, could be days, could be months, could be years, could be generation. We would not know if it was no or wait. Not only that, we cannot tell the difference between no, wait, and God not existing at all. We also cannot tell the difference between God existing and saying yes to healing the cancer, or God not existing and a person going through a random remission, or possibly that they were never sick at all and they never had cancer, but that it was a mistake by the doctors in the first place. We just can't tell because there is nothing that's mutually exclusive in this experiment through answered prayer. Then we have the problem of how the data was actually received. When scientists are, trying to prove a hypothesis, they have to design their research methods in such a way that ensures the accuracy and quality and the integrity of the data. If there are flaws in the way that the data is gathered, then the research is not considered valid. Now let's think about what's happening with G-Man's argument. G-Man is praying, and it's to prove that God exists. The thing is we can't even tell what data is actually being received. We can't tell if it's from God himself. We can't tell if it's from a deistic God that just kind of randomly heard it and decided, sure, why the hell not? Let me answer this guy's prayer. Or it could be a trickster God. It could be Satan himself. It could be one of the demons. Or a Satan with enough power to be able to deceive G-Man that we wouldn't be able to know. We have no way to know the correct data or where the source came from. We can't qualify it, can't quantify it. We don't know anything. This is, just inaccurate, low quality data that cannot be used for empirical evidence. Then next we have the problem of results reproduction. Basically, if I make a claim that if I do X, then A should happen, then every time that I or anybody else does this same experiment, then they should all get the result A. But if during that process, one person gets A and some people get B and then some people get C, then that's an inconsistent result and that data cannot be used as empirical evidence. Period. This is exactly what we get from the Christian community, or at least anybody that says God answers prayers. If a Christian says, ask God to help them on a test and he gets a yes, okay. Then the next time they ask for help on a test, they get a no. The next time they get a maybe. So one time they're getting A, one time they're getting B, one time they're getting C. Then let's say a person gets, another Christian is thrown into the mix, and they're praying for God answer tests, and they're getting A, B, or C. Sometimes a Christian may pray for something, and they may only get yeses. Sometimes another Christian may only get no's. Now, of course, the Christian response to this is, well, of course God is going to answer certain ways, because either he felt that they don't need this, or he, whatever, they didn't earn it, or whatever excuse that Christians like to use for why God doesn't answer a prayer. It's not in his plan. That doesn't really matter, because what G-Man is claiming here is empirical evidence, and empirical evidence has specific guidelines, and it is not meeting them. So justify all you want, but it will not make it any more empirical. So, in conclusion, G-Man, your empirical data is only as empirical as the alien sightings in any other deity or Bigfoot or Santa Claus or anything else. Your experiment is designed in a fashion that is unfalsifiable. Your conclusions are not mutually exclusive, and we cannot tell if yes, no, wait, non-existence, or random chance. So your data also comes from an unknown source, and we can't tell if it's from a god, your god, trickster god, or the devil is deceiving you. Your experiments cannot be reproduced consistently. Even if you come up with some sort of just arbitrary justification, it will not affect the fact that it cannot be reproduced consistently. Your results have also not been peer-reviewed, adversarially reviewed, and I'm not even sure if that's a word, and nor has it been written in a journal. For all of these reasons, your empirical evidence, your empirical data is not empirical. It's time to hang it up, G-Man. You have atheists telling you that doesn't work. You have your fellow Christians telling you that this doesn't work. You have the scientific method telling you that it does not work, and clearly defined why now. Move on to something better. There are much better things you can argue. Please, I don't want to hear this anymore. Nobody wants to hear this anymore. That is it, folks. This is the Atheist Chef signing off. Peace.